What's up, Walking Dead friends and family? It's Brian Castrillo, and we're back with another review, and this is for Fear the Walking Dead, episode 13 of season 7, The Raft. And Madison is almost here. Like, the moment I see her on screen, I'm gonna be so excited. But it's just so close. And there's even a moment in there that just reminded me of her, and we'll get to that in a moment. But this episode is kind of like a bridge episode, and we are bridging a lot of things. Dwight and Sherry and their relationship going forward, as well as Morgan and Alicia, and kind of like a transfer of power, where Alicia is becoming the leader. And this is why Follow Me episode was so important, and it bridges from that, where where that episode helped see the leader that she could become, and we're seeing that progress here in this episode right here. Now, in the beginning, we see Sherry, and she's pulling along this tube, and it's this raft. And then we hear, talking with Dwight, and there's a woman that they're looking for, and which they eventually go to find her, but they're kind of at odds with their little bit of kind of, I don't want to say bickering, but they're not really on the same page. And so they go to find this woman whose name is Maya. And we learned that she was heard about the tower through, from wherever she was from, up the river. And she said that, it's a lot better there, but she was looking for her son, Marco. So who is Marco? But she hasn't seen him. And Dwight is saying that, you should go to the tower. And of course, Sherry does not like this. But it was kind of cool how they came in and saved her at the last minute, because, Dwight comes in and kills all but one walker, which is coming to this woman. And this walker's all bubbly and pussy. And then Sherry at the last moment comes in and shoots the walker to save her. And they're kind of at odds as to why Dwight said that. But Dwight is basically looking out for her, because even though he wants her on their side, he realizes that she's a mother looking for a son. So he sends her off to the tower, because he's saying that's the best place for her. And this is, leading up to that bridge thing. Now, Morgan ends up, we see Morgan catches up with Dwight and Sherry, because they call on the radio, and he's looking for help, because he's actually, he got all those walkers that John Dory Sr. sacrificed himself for, so baby Mo can go on. And he's leading them all away, and he's trying to, find a place for him to go. And Dwight and Sherry mentions the crater where, all those pus-filled walkers were, and they're trying to, get those walkers over there. So they meet up with him, and then all of a sudden, Rangers, they start shooting at him, trying to distract these walkers, because the Rangers are trying to get him back to the tower. But eventually, we see Dwight and Sherry, they take off with baby Mo, while Morgan distracts the walkers again and gets him to follow them again. Now, Morgan did this basically just to weaken the tower, so he has a moment where they don't have all this protection, and which was actually pretty brilliant. At first I was thinking, maybe they just a few followed him, but he got the entire, pretty much all the walkers, if not all of them, to follow him. Now, Wes and Sherry, they're taking off trying to get away, and they come around a building and they see Wes. Dwight and Sherry meet up with Wes, and they're kind of at all, kind of a showdown, and Wes is like, you won't shoot me, because basically I know about your code, and then reveals himself. But if you do end up killing me, then the Rangers will be right on you, basically saying that they're out of luck. But Sherry, being the woman that she is like, no, I'm not having this, and shoots basically near the horse, gets him to throw off Wes. They try to get him to, come with them. But what we learned from Wes is a little bit into kind of his psyche and the way he's thinking. He's saying, you guys got me to believe in something great, and I killed my brother for this, and you guys don't even seem to believe it yourself. So we're starting to understand why Wes did what he did. Now, granted, I get why he was upset at Alicia for doing what she did to Daniel, but this is kind of more into the mindset where he wants stability. He wants to be safe. And he basically said that he's doing it for himself because he wants to be safe. Now, Alicia finds Morgan as he's leading them, and she ends up trying to blow up a car to save him, but also helps him get him, to corral up. And they're kind of at odds at this plan, at the plan, at what's going to happen, because Alicia's saying, we don't have the people, we don't have enough guns yet, it's not ready, we got to do this perfect, and Morgan basically tells her, we don't only have so much time, I got the walkers away, and we need to strike now while we have this opportunity. And Morgan's like, why are you stalling? Why are you stalling? And it's kind of interesting, because what the bridge between them is basically we're seeing Alicia step into that leadership role, and Morgan kind of slowly going away from it through this episode. And that's why that episode Follow Me was so pivotal with Warren Wawa Snipe. Some people didn't like that episode. I absolutely loved it, and it was showing Alicia how she could be a leader, and it made more sense what's going on now if that because of that episode. Because if that didn't happen, Alicia stepping into this role would not really make sense. She had some badass moments, but she was really never the leader that Madison was. Again, getting back to Madison. Now then we see Sherry and Dwight, and they're at the Blue Diamond Car Wash. And of course, I'm thinking of Dale Diamond back when at the baseball stadium where, Madison died. Now, I was always under the belief, if you ask anyone that I talk to on social media, and they'll tell you, I always believe Madison lives. That was one of my posts. It just didn't seem believable to me that she could have died. That's why I'm so happy that they left it ambiguous so that way she could return. But if you look at that moment, she had a flare. She was kind of like trying to get the walkers to her. But right behind her was and this is true at just about any baseball stadium, they kind of have that chain link fence there. And Madison, who's been on the run, she's clearly in shape. She's rugged. She's tough. Those fences, I can tell you from personal experience, you can clear them in 30 seconds to a minute, jump them up pretty quickly. So to think that she could not climb that would be unbelievable. That's why I always believed that she could survive. And I was thinking of that flare. That reminded me of the moments when Shane and Otis, when they distracted the walkers with that flare, because they would be attracted to it. So all they needed to do was distract the walkers all she needed to do was distract the walkers for just a moment to get that moment to climb up the fence. As to what happens after that, I don't know. Of course, I wish Keltaka Walker was the one that saved her, but we'll see what happens. But back to this, they get stopped because Wes and his Rangers catch up to him, Dwight and Sherry rather, and they look like they're trapped. And but right before that, Dwight finds her bag, and she has all these road maps, and she's definitely planning something. And she was basically saying that again, getting back to the bridge, but she was saying that she didn't want Dwight to go into this tower, or she basically wanted to set that raft was for Dwight because she wanted him to get away, because she didn't want him to turn into the Dwight that he did because of his time with the Saviors. And so she was basically setting it up for him to leave so she can take care of this for herself, just so she can protect him. But then Dwight was like, that's bullshit, that you don't believe that. And that's when Wes and the Rangers show up, and he basically has Sherry take the the baby while he's walking up, and he grabs one of the Rangers, and the other Ranger shoots, and he positions the Ranger to take the bullets, and then he shoots the other Ranger, and then it's just Wes and him. Wes had him pinned down, but apparently somehow he got away. But this is Dwighty boy. This was Negan's right-hand man. So clearly he outmaneuvered Wes, as we found out. But now we're getting back to Morgan and Alicia. And there was a quote that I want to quote Morgan, as Sonny said. And he said, when he was talking to Alicia, I left some folks I cared about once before, and it has never sat right with me. That's why I kind of think season 8, whoever's left with us, because this is going to be a bloody end, in my opinion. This is going to be the trip back to Alexandria. This is where everything connects back, and everything kind of merges together. How they do the time jump, I don't know. It'll probably be they're traveling up there, but besides that quote was just like really big for me. Now they end up leading these walkers to the bunker where Alicia and Morgan lead it up to the bunker where we also found Sherry and Dwight, who are already there. And what we learn in there is that Sherry thinks that she might be pregnant, and she has this test that she took, but she didn't tell Dwight. And the reason why is basically, again, going back to that, she didn't want Dwight to turn back to what he was. But this is where they start coming back together and they start becoming stronger. And she basically admits that she should have did this with him, but at that moment, Wes and the Rangers are coming, and so and in that room where they were, we did see the that draft about Padre, and she grabs Alicia's weapon, and then they get stuck in basically the same thing that happened to Alicia. They were stuck in the tunnel there. As Morgan and Alicia are up top, but Sherry sets this alarm off as Wes is in that room, and I know he looked down. Now they didn't show that Padre thing, so I'm assuming that Wes took that, and this is probably going to fall into the hands of Victor of whatever Padre is, because they didn't really get into that. And one thing I forgot to mention is that someone had let a truck go down into that crater, because none of those walkers, well, there was a few in there, but most of them were gone. So who did that? Was it Wes? Was it Maya? Was it Marco? That's going to come into play. But that Padre book, I think Wes grabbed that. And the walkers are coming in. They end up killing, Wes's people, and Wes is running away and he's hiding. And if you look at the look on his face, he looks like it doesn't sit well with what he's doing, and he feels bad that he basically ran away, because he's not really the leader, or his moral compass is coming into play here. Excuse me. Now, one of the things that kind of grabbed my attention was when Morgan and Alicia were speaking, she grabs her necklace and kind of tucks it in. I think that's kind of hinting at something. I don't know if that may be kind of hinting at maybe Wes's death or something about that necklace. And I want to know what you guys thought about that. But I think that was a moment that we were drawn to look at. The other one was when Morgan and Alicia were looking into the crater. They took a moment to look at that truck, like the sharp focus was right on that truck. And then you see Morgan and Alicia in the background, and it's really blurry. But something about that moment, those were two images that grasped me. And I want to know what you guys thought about those moments. But now we know Wes got away, but this whole bridge thing, now we know that Sherry is pregnant. They found that out in the tunnel for sure. She showed him and Sherry was using that Alicia's weapon as, to get her out, because this was the moment she's like, no, we are not dying in here. We are strong. We are getting out of here. This is not the way we're going to end. And they get out and they meet Morgan and Alicia. And this final scene, this is the final bridge, the transfer of power, because two scenes like you, and where I kind of bring this into play is that there was a moment where Morgan's like trying to call down into the bunker, and Alicia's like, no, that's not going to work. They won't even hear it. And Morgan's like, you're right. And this is, again, Alicia coming into that leadership, realizing that she is the leader that her mother was. But now we're at the scene, at this beach where the raft is. You got Daniel Salazar, which that outfit is just crazy. When I see him with that, I just think back to the early Daniel Salazar, and then I see him dressed like this, and I'm like, I mean, I get it. He needs protection, but it's just a funny image. But he is my favorite character, and I know we got some more badass scenes coming up with him. And then we don't see Mo a lot, but the one scene she did, she made me laugh, because he was like, well, what if I don't find this place that this Maya woman came from? And she's like, well, you just take Mo out and you drive her around a few blocks or something like that. And just that moment was just kind of a cute moment. And then you see Alicia basically saying her goodbye to Morgan, but she's telling him that we will see each other again. And there's a moment where Morgan looks at Alicia and when she's telling him that we are, and he just kind of smiles and says, you know what, you got this. And because he doesn't want to leave, but he realized he has to do this for Mo. And just that moment, Morgan is basically saying, you know what, I believe in you. You got this. It was at that moment that Alicia became the leader that she is. And that, again, going back to the episode with Wawa Snipe, Follow Me, this is the bridge to this episode. That's why that episode was so important. And then at the final scene, you see Alicia walk up and everybody is behind her. She is the leader that Madison was. But yeah, this was a great episode, a great bridge episode. Next episode is going to be crazy, and I cannot wait. Now, my MVP for this episode, that's so many good ones. But this one has got to be Alicia Clark. I thought about it could be Sherry, and just the dynamics with her and Dwight. I thought she was really great in this episode, but Alicia Clark, portrayed by Alicia Dedham Carey, was amazing in this episode. This is the transformation that we've been waiting to see. This is the Alicia that we wanted to see ever since we lost Madison. Now, my shout out is going to a good buddy of mine. His name is Tim Anderson, and he is the Liminalist. And if you love rock music, check out his music. This dude is rock on, brother. But I'm gonna play a little snippet at the end of this video. His link tree is in the video description. Please check him out. Check out his music. And all the platforms that he has him on. I believe he has it on iTunes and various other, but you will love his music. I'm gonna put a snippet at the end. Again, thank you guys for listening to me. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please hit that like, and if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Madison is almost here, and I cannot wait. What did you guys think of this episode? Let me know in the comments. Tell me your favorite parts. Those moments that I told you about, I want to ask you about those specifically. The grasping of the necklace and hiding that. What does that mean? Did you get anything from that truck? Why did it focus on that? Do you think that Wes took the Padre things? And who do you think put the truck into the crater so they can get away? Was that Victor? But yeah, let's talk about it. Thank you guys for watching. I love you guys. Until next week.